This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Making sure that we have this on the record, tonight's meeting was called to order at 6:10 p.m. We have completed roll call where we have two members of the LPC present. Both Chair Latricia Adams and Member Sharon Hyde are in attendance. We have one LPC member that communicated ahead that they had a conflict and would not be able to attend, and another member that communicated that they may arrive a little bit later. The remainder of the LPC members did not provide any rationale for their absence tonight. All items on tonight's agenda until we meet quorum will be for discussion. Moving into agenda item number 2, public comment. We do have 3 virtual attendees on the record. If you would like to make public comment, please come off of mute, just one individual at a time. Please identify yourself, and you have roughly 3 minutes for your public comment. Do we have any members joining virtually who would like to make public comment? All right. If we do have any member that has joined us today that would like to make public comment beyond this agenda item, we'll try to add some time at the end of tonight's agenda to make sure we acknowledge those individuals. Moving to agenda item number 3, approval of the minutes from December 18, 2024. Being that we do not have quorum, we won't be able to vote to approve the minutes. However, we can allocate time for those minutes to be reviewed. If you are joining us virtually, if you actually go to tonight's agenda, there's a hyperlink that's available for you to access the December 18, 2024 minutes. Any points of discussion for the minutes from December?
We would still need to approve the 9-4 minutes.
Yep, we have an issue with not meeting quorum, so we can never approve the minutes, unfortunately. You good? You want to? Okay. All right. So we have acknowledged the minutes. Again, we do not have quorum, so we're not able to take a vote. Moving to the next agenda item, which is old business. The first item is an update and discussion on the reported Memphis Light Gas and Water violation of the EPA RRP training. So I am limited to the discourse that I will discuss on the record for this particular item. However, I will say that I had an opportunity to speak both before Memphis City Council as well as the Memphis Light Gas and Water directors or board of commissioners, meeting earlier this month. And so those comments are available to the general public as they were recorded. Anyone that's listening or present in person, feel free to review those. At this time, I don't have any additional comment, with the exception that we did finally, after a year and 2 weeks, received a response regarding the investigation, that the investigation is now closed. That was peer communication from Memphis Light Gas and Water. Right. Moving to the next agenda item under old business, update and discussion regarding next steps with the Tennessee State Legislative Session. So 2 items. So the first item is with the blood lead level testing for incoming kindergartners. So we discussed at the last meeting that we do anticipate that we will be able to bring this item up. Um, for this particular legislative session, last session, the bill was brought forward, but it died in committee. However, there were 3 votes in the affirmative for this particular bill. It's our inference that a fiscal note that was an error was associated with this bill, so it is promising that perhaps we can get this bill introduced. We do have 2 years to get this bill passed. If for some reason, if it's introduced and it fails for 2025, so you have until the end of 2026 to actually get it through. With the next item, with the amendment of the school drinking water bill, where it calls to lower the level of remediation, excuse me, not remediation, to 10 parts per billion, and also add childcare facilities. So currently, with the EPA's lead and copper rule improvements, this we anticipate this won't be a difficult amendment, as it'll be in alignment with the current rule. There is an item that may have impacts on this particular bill that'll be discussed in new business. But as of right now, with the current bill, no, excuse me, the current rule active, it shouldn't be difficult to just amend it to be in alignment with the federal requirement. Any other discussion on those two? Oh, I do have one good thing. The American Pediatrics Association, is it association? I always mess it up.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, I apologize if it's not association, but they express interest, specifically as it relates to the school drinking water bill. So that's very exciting, to have such an esteemed professional organization to have interest, shared interest, in getting this bill passed or getting this bill amended. All right. Moving to the next agenda item under old business, update regarding vacant LPC seats and status of recommendations. So I'm very excited to finally, after many, many years, we did have, there's a new young man, Carl, and I want to acknowledge him because he's amazing. Carl Ray Massey. I had an opportunity to speak with them, where they very much so are eager to move forward with filling these vacancies that we have. We have not had a complete LPC since our inception, so we've been trying to advocate to get these seats filled for almost 6 years. So since 2019, the year of our inception. In full disclosure, I term out, where based on our bylaws, I cannot be appointed again. I would have to wait out, I think, 3 years before I would be considered for a reappointment. It's been a great ride. My term actually ends in September, and I will amicably pass the baton. That's another reason why it is so imperative for us to get these seats filled. As I was one of the first people to be appointed to this commission, and I definitely want to see this work persevere. We definitely have a lot of work to do, to be lead free in Shelby. I also want to honor Mayor Lee Harris to continue his legacy with this commission. So it is important, for these seats to be filled. And I'm glad that we have somebody that is in place that also sees this as a priority, which may not have been shared previously, with other staff who have now transitioned from that role. Additionally, there is a seat that has never been filled with Memphis Water. We have an opportunity to extend an opportunity for MLGW to make a recommendation, for representation from MLGW to serve within this body. So President did this and shared that he would follow back with us. To give some historical context, some years prior, there had been engagement around former MLGW staff member who has since transitioned from MLGW. Newman was an individual that had been recommended previously under prior leadership under JT Young, but I'm not necessarily sure if we had done our due diligence to circle back under President McGowan's leadership to see if there was interest. There was an instance where we did engage another MLGW employee directly, but they shared with us that they didn't have the capacity to serve. So hopefully, for the first time, we will get MLGW representation within this body. I think based on several items that intersect with MLGW, I think that it would be healthy for them to have a seat here to be able to, one, have another outlet to be community facing, and also have an opportunity to respond to some of the public comments that come before this body that does address issues with issues, concerns, questions, inquiries, celebrations, what have you, that reflect MLGW. So I want to share that as well. So hopefully there will be someone that is recommended. I did mention the individual that took the place of Nick Newman, Chandrika I do not want to butcher her name. Let me honor her and make sure that I say her last. Winston. There we go. Miss Chandrika Winston, who assumed the role of Nick Newman. I was gonna try to share what her formal title is. My apologies, I'm not able to pick that up right away. But nevertheless, we hope that we will get a response and a nomination so that we can turn that over to Mayor Harris's staff, and then we'll go from there. Additionally, there was interest from two elected officials to serve on the LPC. One is actually seated County Commissioner Brittany Thornton, who expressed interest. Because she is a seated county commissioner, she would bypass the recommendation from Mayor Harris. And so I inquired from the county attorney what the process was. I followed up a week ago from today to Chief Perry, who I'm assuming manages or works directly with members of the county commission to see what the process entails for Commissioner Thornton to join the LPC. I think that would be phenomenal to have representation from a county commissioner. Also, it was brought to my attention that there is space for the chair for, I think, Public Works to be a part of this commission as well. So hopefully that individual will express interest to assume that seat. We also had, and this is very exciting, interest from a member of Memphis City Council. Councilwoman Michael and Easter Thomas has expressed interest as well and has submitted her application. So hopefully we can move forward. We pray that Mayor Harris agrees with the recommendations that were brought forward to him, and that we can move expeditiously to get these individuals before county commission so they can be confirmed. We also still have two outstanding recommendations that was sent over to the administration that's been in queue for about 2 years. Sarah Houston, the executive director from Protect Our Aquifer, as well as Deravia Rich from Black Seeds of Urban Farms. So hopefully those recommendations, the whole portfolio of those, will be received positively. And at least before I bid this body adieu, that we will have a full commission. But I will pause there. Any points of discussion? I do want to say now, when I transition, there will be one more vacancy. So I do think that in the interim, we should still probably have someone on the short list for consideration. What we can do is actually look at the resolution and look at the types of seats so that we can specify like what's missing. So just wanted to put that out there. Right. Awesome. We can go to the next agenda item, still under old business, which is an update and discussion regarding the county's call for a pollution reduction plan. I have great news and an update there. So On the city side, compliments of the leadership of Mayor Paul Young, Mayor of the city of Memphis, is a part of a program, Bloomberg Sustainable Cities, where essentially with this program, the city of Memphis partners with community-based organizations, um, also like other agencies representative in this cohort, if you will, to essentially establish a plan that's grounded in co-governance. So with this group or this cohort, it is representation both of the city of Memphis as well as the county. So there's representation from the what office of the sustainability. I always butcher that. My apologies. So Lee Huffman, who we're very excited about to have an opportunity to engage with, is the representative from the county. So I'm really excited to see what will come out of this work with Bloomberg Sustainable Cities. I'm optimistic to see what this will look like. And I do think that it's an opportunity for us to bring about some of those issues that have been brought forward, I think almost 4 years ago at this point, around pollution reduction. And in this instance, it'll be both for the county and the city, which is fully comprehensive. So I'm happy to provide updates over time. But yay, that's a win on that particular item. All right. Next agenda item under old business is an update regarding the cancellation of RFP 25-0009-07 Environmental Justice Land Lead Grant, Phase 2. So in the previous meeting back in December, we still don't have any updates. There is outstanding correspondence where advocate and seated county commissioner Brittany Thornton sought to get some answers around not necessarily what was presented to us via a public records request, where essentially through a public records request, it was stated that the RFP was canceled because it wasn't going to be enough time to get it approved in front of county commission and get the contract out. The remaining question that is yet to be answered is, where is this money? So the grant was for $160,000. They did a second phase because only roughly about $50,000 had been allocated. We received several communications inquiries from the general public around this particular item. To provide some historical context, the reason why this body is invested in understanding what happened with this funding is because this item was brought by this body before county commission, reflective of community voice. So it's very disheartening that county staff has been silent about what is transpiring with these funds. This is federal funding. It should be open to the general public around where this money is. And specifically, the concern is this money truly being earmarked towards what the resolution set out to do, for it to be focused on environmental justice initiatives? So I am personally not saying one thing one way or the other. We simply do not know, and we are very disappointed in the applicable county staff, that we still are uncertain where this money is, especially since it was the people that acted within their right to democracy that advocated for this. So very disappointing. Today, I did submit another public records request. I submitted a public records request that was geared towards the Shelby County Health Department. It was brought to my attention, whether I don't know one way or the other, that the remaining funds, was sent from the community service, always the CSA. So that it was moved from the CSA budget to the health department. I did inquire directly with Mr. Green from the health department to inquire if they had received it. he communicated that he was not familiar with what I was speaking about. And so I then moved forward to submit a public records request. So the public record request was sent today. Um, there's no associated time limit in which we may get a response, but I will do my due diligence to ensure that this item remains on our agenda moving forward until it's resolved so that we can model better transparency to the general public. But I will pause there. Any discussion on that item? Yeah, it's been a journey with this item. Very disappointing. All right, moving to the last item under old business is the update regarding the request for the Shelby County Health Department to give a presentation on blood lead level data. So back in December of 2023, we had an opportunity to hear from Director Taylor with a pretty comprehensive overview of the state of blood lead level data within Shelby County. And so we did do a request. I will acknowledge that I forgot to send the dates to Travis Green, who was liaising with her scheduler around when she would be available to do the presentation or send a surrogate. So I did send those dates over this week, and so hopefully we will hear back soon. I do acknowledge this week was short in acknowledgement of MLK Day, but nevertheless, I do hope that we hear back soon. That particular presentation was very well attended, both in person and virtually. So I really hope that we'll have an opportunity to hear where we are as it relates to blood lead level data. And for more specificity, that speaks to children under the age of 6, excuse me, who have been tested for lead throughout Memphis and Shelby County. So as soon as I hear back, um, we don't know if it may be in the next meeting that Director Taylor or surrogate will be able to present, but I'll be sure to keep this body abreast of when they'll be able to make that presentation. All right. Going to new business. So the first item under new business, according to our bylaws, at the beginning of the first meeting of the year for the LPC, we are required to do a re-election or hold an election for LPC officers. However, we do not have quorum. So we are able to make nominations, but we cannot vote on them. So what I will do is I will name on the record the current officers, starting with chair. So I, Latricia Adams, I'm currently the chair, but as I communicated earlier, my term ends in September. So just keeping that in mind. The current vice chair is Eric Stevenson. The secretary is Matthew Woods. The parliamentarian is Dr. Barnes, who is our Shelby County Health Department representative. So, and I think that's all. Yep, those are all of the offices. So, right now, we need to have a slate. Even though we may not be able to vote on it tonight, we still need to get it on the record. So, even though I want to reiterate, we will not be voting. So we have the following offices: chair, vice chair, secretary, and parliamentarian. So starting with chair, do we have any nominations?
I nominate Latricia Adams for.
I thought you was gonna say yourself. Okay. All right. So we do have one nomination for Latricia Adams. One caveat: should that be the vote when we do have quorum, I would only be able to serve in the capacity of an interim, being that my term will end in September. All right, for the position of vice chair.
I nominate Eric Stevenson to remain as vice chair.
Okay, we have the nomination for Eric Stevenson to resume in that seat. Secretary.
I nominate Matthew Wood to continue as secretary.
Okay, there's a nomination for Matthew Woods to remain in the current seat as secretary and parliamentarian.
I do not have a recommendation for parliamentarian.
Okay, my recommendation for parliamentarian is Miss Sharon Hyde. Okay, and so again, we're not able to vote on this slate. I will follow up with our assigned county attorney to see if we are able to do an electronic vote since we have acknowledged nominations on the record, but we still need for the folks that have been nominated to actually formally accept their nomination, which we're not able to do that because some of the individuals that have been nominated are not with us this evening. So I'll follow up offline to see if we can follow that procedure to vote electronically. So that when we come back, I think our next meeting is in March. What month are we in now? Yep, in January. That we will have confirmed seats.
And I will accept the nomination.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, we can say that because we don't have to vote on you. You accept him. Okay, awesome. All right. Wonderful. So moving to the next agenda item. Oh boy, this is not my favorite agenda item. So updates on a new bill to block the Environmental Protection Agency's lead and copper rule improvements. On January the 13th, there was a bill introduced through Congress with a representative out of the state of Alabama to essentially kill the EPA's lead and copper rule that's reflected of the immediate previous administration, the Biden-Harris administration under the leadership of former EPA Administrator Michael Regan. I did check today. The only thing that has been done as far as action is it has been introduced. And I think that it went to committee. If you're joining us virtually in the agenda, there is an hyperlink so that you can actually see the bill through the tracker. So, what I can do now to acknowledge today. So, the so it's HJ Resolution 18, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5, United States Code of the rules submitted by the Environmental Protection Agency relating to, quote, national primary drinking water regulations for lead and copper, colon improvements, in parentheses, LCRI, close parentheses, end quote, is resolution right now under representative out of Alabama. Right now is in Energy and Commerce Committee, and it's been introduced. So I don't see. Yeah, so on the 13th it was introduced, and then also on the 30th it was referred to the House Committee on Energy and Commerce. We can open it up for discussion. This will be interesting. It's a lot of money that has already been expended with this rule, even locally. Memphis Light Gas and Water has invested a lot of time, energy, and resources surrounding this. So we shall see. Yeah, it's kind of, yeah. I don't even know what to say.
It passed what in 2023 the final rule, and it's all health and safety.
Yeah. Now, one thing is, um, should this bill move forward and the LCRI is like rolled back, that means that we would automatically default to the LCR, the lead and copper rule that was actually amended under President Trump's initial or previous administration. Just in, full disclosure, while that particular rule is not and comprehensive as the current one of the biggest things is the level of remediation. However, that rule still is still better than the previous rule. So I do, from a point of optimism, even though I know a lot of work, even within this body, I mean, we've been working on this since day one, to make this the strongest rule possible. But should we lose it, all is not lost. There still is a there still is a standard to follow around getting these lead service lines out of the ground. The biggest thing that I have observed that is likely a point of contention is around the deadline. So there is concern that the deadline of 10 years won't be met. One, because it's not fully funded. While the federal government did provide startup money, is probably the best way to describe it. Both states and local cities and municipalities, they have to figure out a way to fund it, because there is not full funding at the federal level to do these replacements. So we will be on standby. We'll be sure to keep this body abreast of any updates that happen with this particular bill. And again, if you join us virtually, you can access, and I'll make sure to just drop it in the chat box so you don't have to click around, um, so that you can keep updated on the progress with this bill. So just dropped it in the chat box for our virtual attendees. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep hope alive on this bill. Um, the last item for new business is the debrief of MLK Day on the Lead Free South Memphis Canvas Day. I think we reached like 500. I think 500 homes. Okay.
Reached 307 properties.
Okay.
We're looking for 500.
Okay, we were looking for 500, and you
There
said
were
370.
abandoned or didn't answer the door, so those have all been noted on
Okay.
the master list so that we can be sure and know that these were vacant or abandoned properties.
Yeah, thank you for that. So, yeah, 370. We had slated for 500, but hey, 370 is excellent. I'm really excited that we had an opportunity as LPC members to contribute to this event. We had the most partners that we've ever had this year. So we were excited to see support from both the city and the county. Shout out to the city of Memphis as well as the city of Memphis's department, HCD, Housing and Community Development, was also present. Um, Let me do this thing right so I can acknowledge everybody. Of course, the Green and Healthy Homes Initiative, Protect Our Aquifer, Memphis Community Against Pollution, Memphis and Shelby County led Safe Collaborative. I guess some more folks. Um, uh, it was the Fair Housing. Yeah, Fair Housing. I want to get their name right. Let me see. Because we were really excited, one, to learn about them because they're new, but super stoked to have them to partner with us. The Fair Housing Council of Metropolitan Memphis, Memphis Alarm. If you're not familiar with Memphis Alarm, that is parents of children who experience lead poisoning. Also, LeBarner. Yep, I think I named. Oh, of course, Memphis and Shelby County Division of Planning and Development, specifically with their lead program, is always amazing. And so we were able to provide referrals from interested residents that were engaged. Those referrals went to both the City of Memphis HCD led program as well as the county. Also, referrals went to the health department because there were a significant amount of homes that were visited that had children under the age of 6. So the health department does a really good job of supporting this work, to reach out to those families and those parents to engage to see if they have one, if they have children that have been tested, to do follow-ups there, but then to also encourage those families that have children that have not, encourage them to get testing. So
There was
yeah.
a lot of interest on Cameron Street, it looks like.
Okay.
Several people that were looking for water and lead tank testing
Hmm.
that all have children under 6. Several are also seniors that are in the
You said
home.
7 were seniors?
See, let's see.
Okay. Yay, that's good on the
Yeah.
seniors.
1, 2, 3, 7 senior homes.
Oh, okay.
And so
That's good.
our partners at the city and county and GHHI will all reach out to them to get further information and try to get them enrolled in programs available.
Yay.
But yeah, Cameron we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 homes in Cameron that actually talked, got information, all have children under the age of 6. And like I said, many with children, with older adults in the home also.
Wonderful. Oh, we also, this one was really great. We actually had, so the canvassing training takes place at the Gaston Community Center. And so we actually had a staff member that came down. We were able to share like what we were doing for the afternoon. And so that individual shared that they had a daughter that has a bundle of joy on the way, but they fear or suspect that it may be black mold in the daughter's home, which is super scary. So we had an opportunity to do a referral to the Green and Healthy Homes Initiative on the spot. So hopefully, we'll have the GHHI will have an opportunity to circle back with that parent to see how they can best support. But really good turnout. I think we had maybe close to 30 volunteers this year, so that was good. Um, yeah, it keeps getting bigger and bigger. Yeah, hopefully some of the partners that we had this year, they'll keep going. I'm really personally really invested in learning more about this fair housing council. One of the things that stood out to me the most is she said that, I mean, that was one of the biggest things that like Martin Luther King like focused on. In Memphis, this is the first like organization like this, like a fair housing council where they have a lot of them across the country. So it's interesting that Memphis just got one. So they're less than a year old. So I'm really invested to see from a collaboration perspective how we can continue to build that relationship.
And we spoke to them about coming to the lead coalition meeting.
Yay!
And the Healthy Homes Partnership.
Wonderful.
So
That's
talk
great.
more about a lot of the housing agencies so that they can get tapped into there to make sure they can meet and help our people that are at risk of fair housing rules being broken.
That is great. Also, we had youth there. We had a toddler. Oh, she was so cute. Maybe she might have been like 3, maybe 3. Is that still a toddler?
Yeah, she was top.
Okay, she was so cute. We also had a middle schooler. We had a wonderful student to join us from Maxine Smith. Um, so that's another area that I'm excited to get more involved in. I know specifically with my personal organization, with Young Gifted and Green, we have a youth EJ council that should be on board by February. So we're hoping that we'll have more young people like teenagers, college kids. We had some college kids before, but I think it was a lot going on. They just got back to school, focus on school. We were excited to have a middle schooler. That's always fun with middle school kids. So we had younger children that were with us this go around. So that was awesome. Um, all right. So that ends new business. For announcements, I do have an announcement. It's a bit of a follow up from public comment. So at the December public comment, we received a public comment that spoke about there or a report from the Memphis and Shelby County led Safe Collaborative regarding a report of Some improvements needed on communication with independent contractors that do service line work at homes, where it was reported that it's not consistency with those independent plumbers communicating to their clients, to residents, that if they disturb the line, that they should filter, and just notifying them that if they disturb the line, especially if it's a lead service line, that they need to provide some preventative communication to those respective residents slash clients. I was able to find the contact information for the chief plumbing inspector. Let me make sure that I'm blanking on names today. Forgive me. It's been a long day. But I was able to, I think it's Chief Bowman, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Chief John Bowman. So forgive me, I'm delayed. Was trying to get back from winter break. So I did reach out just today. So we'll give them some time to respond. So hopefully we'll get a response from that. We're grateful. For all of our public comments, and serving as a liaison between community members and various agencies. So thank you for the comment from the December meeting, but just wanted to acknowledge that on the record. Also, at the top of the meeting, I did say that I would circle back if there were any members of the general public that have joined us this evening that would like to make public comment. If you would, you can come off of mute, um, identify yourself, give your first and last name, and you have about 3 minutes to provide any comments. All right. If you do have any comments, and I will be sure to drop our email address in the chat box. Also, if you go to the county website, that contact information is there as well. We do have our own handy dandy website. We love it, but it has different mechanisms in which you can get in contact with us if there are any concerns, comments, celebrations. You don't always have to give us a complaint if something is going well. You can share that too. So just drop that email address in the chat box. And with that, we can adjourn if there is no additional items for discussion. I call this LPC January 2025 meeting to a close at 6:53 p.m. Thank you so much.